discussing Devatma, a bright star. Throughout the history of the world, history creators have been born as blessed events. They established their own ethos, principles, and theories. Readers evolute attitude towards specific area in the maze of their own contemplation. It's an evolutionary process in the extent of thought. Oriental and Occidental perspectives of religion and spirituality are unrelated in various degrees. While Oriental frame of mind creates perseverance, decency, modernity, devotion, and other things, whereas Occidental stance is full of charm and fascination. Henceforth, at full length, the sum total philosophy of Orientalism is resplendent with devotion. Undoubtedly, Devatma can be called the only perfect universal spiritual master in real great extent, who provided emphasis to science in the domain of religion and spirituality. Before the forthcoming of revered Devatma, Indian philosophy was based on Nam Simrana, chanting of beads, samadhi, that's immersion, engrossment, renouncing of family, going to forest for salvation. Devatma signifies the scientific religion on the soil of India, where was the dominance of myth, hypocrisy, falsehood, and inauspiciousness. He was the title holder of truth and goodness. He has been steadfast and adventurous in his philosophy as a constant bright star. In the history of social reforms, some revolutionists come up with their well-built philosophies. Their philosophies turn the wheel of time. The course of life transform. On the tide of time, an oceanic legend set feet. Dialectical materialism is a philosophy of science and nature that developed in Europe and based on the writings of Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. Aforementioned theory connotes human science developed through class struggle. In capitalism, this manifests itself in the conflict between the ruling class, known as bourgeois class, that control the means of production, and the working class, known as the proletariat class, that can be called lower class, that enable these means by selling their labor power in return of wages. Karl Marx predicted that, like previous socio-economic systems, capitalism produced internal tensions which led to its self-destruction and replacement by a new system, that is socialism. In my sense, this is called the extent of consciousness. Devatma completely hates hypocrisy and worsened conspiracies. He has a keen yearning to reform the deformed ones, dark hearts. Marx's concern traveled from capitalism, class struggle, to the rights of labor class. This is called the extent of consciousness. In Devatma, the extent of the contemplation towards human society welfare was on the peak level. The reason is he yearns to improve the deteriorated hearts of the individuals who are in the mud of myths, hypocrisy, and falsehood. Above mentioned stage of sullen human heart is described by Thomas Stern Eliot, one of 20th century's major poets. He averres in Hollow Men, "We are hollow men, we are stuffed men, leaning together, headpieces filled with straw, alas. Our dried voices, when we whisper together, are quiet and meaningless as wind in dry grass, or rat's feet over broken glass. In our dry cellar," it is quoted in Roland Trumpling, page number 11. The higher level of consciousness evolved in Devatma. He alerts his countrymen in his lifetime to awake to the fullest level. He points out again and again, "O men, women, you are not only body, but soul too. Don't live merrily for the degraded desires of the body. Don't destroy your life in the circuit of low loves and low hates." भगवान देवात्मा की बानी के नोट्स, पेज नंबर 22, द टीचिंग्स ऑफ भगवान देवात्मा, its translation mine. No low love and low hate manipulated him. He was free from all low desires. At this point, I remember John Keats' poet, Bright Star, where Keats wishes to live eternally in the lap of Fanny Brown. Fanny, whom he loves as a sensitive lad does in full swing. Hence, Devatma, like a seer conquering all low loves, determines the path of his life vow for the sake of humanity. He is a man who can be destroyed but not defeated. Devatma was against myths and untruth. He advocated truth and auspiciousness. Man on the path of myths involves in tyranny, sin, selfishness, dishonesty, and immorality. His life becomes pandemonium. The path of his progress ceases, surely. He becomes blind and illiterate. How miserable is it? How sympathetic. Though the degree of Keatsian love is full of charm, henceforth, if I indulge in talk fest about the philosophy of Dev Guru Devatma, in a true religious way, I will recur in a full moon vivacity that as a bright star he was steadfast, undoubtedly, towards his vow and mission. British poet John Keats, in his poem Bright Star, "Would I were steadfast as thou art," presents charming images of nature and life. He loves the patience of the star. Still, this image is called the very first stage of consciousness. In Urdu, it is called Ishq-e-Mizazi. But Devatma, in the context of his mission, depicts devotional stance, devotional synthesis. The reason is that Keatsian desire positioned on his five senses sides, but Devatma's beyond and beyond. Having higher extent of consciousness, Devatma is still a solitary guitarist, because we could not understand his depth of consciousness. To follow the complete path of his teachings is like the muses of Amir Khusro. He describes the road to the well is much difficult. How to get my pot filled? How to get my pot filled? When I went to fill the water in the furrow, I broke my pot. Khusro has given whole life to you, O Nizam. O Nizam, would you please take care of my will? Would you please take care of my self-esteem? The road to the well is too much difficult. To the nth degree, the arbor of life flourishes where there is the perfect tuning of heart, body, and soul. The seed of truth, goodness, and beauty can be germinated in coal, black soil. Can it be germinated? No, never. For a delicate butterfly, saintly and virtuous innocent heart is required. To this extent, we understand the softness and sensitiveness of revered Devatma. To the same extent could we be eligible to understand his wisdom premise. Rightly, William Butler Yeats asserts in one of his poems among school children, labor is blossoming or dancing where the body is not bruised to please soul, nor beauty born out of its own despair, nor blear-eyed wisdom out of midnight oil. O chestnut tree, great-rooted blossomer, are you the leaf, the blossom, or the ball? O body, swayed to music, O brightening glance, how can we know the dancer from the dance? How can we know the dancer from the dance? Devatma wishes the well-being of all the kingdom of the nature. In philosophy of man, Dev Shastra third, Devatma presents. In all our departments of nature, in all our kingdom of nature, may there be higher, powerful transformation day by day. May low thoughts uproot. May superior concoction develop among them. May supreme concoction develop among them. According to me, immersed into the deepest water of benevolence, welfare, coexistence, blessings, harmony, unity, truth, goodness, and beauty. The psychology and philosophy of Devatma goes round and round towards perfect intellectual and emotional growth. That will lead to excavate and recognize the dark sheet of the soul. In the clutch of too heavy chain of black seal of hypocrisy, myth, falsehood, and degradation, men invariably touching the same ripples again and again, that is, demerits of life, rather than appreciating and motivating the true, authentic, and auspicious roads of life. Every night has a glorious morning. The darkness of thoughts and views will surely fade away in coming years, as individuals will behold their existence in the pot of values. Soon, men and women will salute and realize the real significance of higher consciousness, the importance of evolutionary process of nature. The vision and mission of Devatma will gleam on the top. Steady house of Devatma's teaching will be a pilgrimage, a shrine, a Mecca, a golden temple, a mosque, a church, an ibadatgah, a place of worship for spiritual seekers, the threshold of new higher consciousness and thinking is on the way, where all soul darkness will be effaced in the pious water of Ganga, that is, astounding wisdom and higher consciousness. Thank you.